Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're diving deep into a case that, well, it really gripped the nation. The disappearance of Kelsey Berreth.
Yeah, it's one of those cases that just sticks with you.
It really does. So for those who maybe haven't heard of this case, Kelsey Berreth was a young flight instructor, a mother, just 29 years old. And then on Thanksgiving Day, 2018, gone.
Just like that. And the mystery surrounding her disappearance, it's got so many layers.
Exactly. So let's start, I guess, with Kelsey herself. I mean, who was she?
So Kelsey, she was living in Woodland Park, Colorado, small town, and she had this 1-year-old daughter. Her life seemed pretty, well, normal. She was dedicated to her work, loved her daughter. I think that's part of what makes this whole thing so unsettling.
Yeah, you're right. Like the contrast between this everyday life and then suddenly she's just gone.
Exactly. It was Thanksgiving Day, 2018. Last anyone saw her was at the grocery store with her daughter. Just a normal errand, right? And then nothing.
And that's when Patrick Frazee, Kelsey's fiancé, enters the picture.
Right, so he initially tells police that he last saw Kelsey on Thanksgiving when he picked up their daughter. Said they'd split amicably, agreed she'd keep the baby.
But right off the bat, there were problems with his story, weren't there?
Oh, absolutely. Inconsistencies popped up. And then there were these strange text messages coming from Kelsey's phone after she was already gone.
I remember that. One even went to her employer, explaining her absence. So the big question was, who was sending those texts if Kelsey was missing?
And that's where things get really crazy. Enter Crystal Lee Kenny, Frazee's ex-girlfriend.
Oh yeah, Crystal Lee. Her testimony completely blew the case wide open.
Didn't it? It was a bombshell, she confessed. Not only to helping Frazee cover up the crime, but she also revealed what actually happened to Kelsey.
So what did happen? What did Crystal Lee say?
So buckle up, because this is where things get dark. According to Crystal Lee, Frazee had been planning this for months. He was convinced that Kelsey was a bad mother, wanted full custody of their daughter.
But if he was so concerned about custody, wouldn't a messy murder trial totally backfire?
You'd think so, right? And that's one of the big questions that hang over this case, the motive. Custody was a factor, no doubt. But investigators also found evidence of financial problems Frazee was facing.
Interesting. So maybe a mix of things.
Probably. I mean, we see that a lot, right? Money problems, custody battles, they can really escalate tensions.
Absolutely. So how did it happen? The actual,
Well, according to Crystal Lee's testimony, Frazee attacked Kelsey in her own home. He beat her to death with a baseball bat.
Oh my God. In her own home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brutal. And then Crystal Lee said she helped him clean up the crime scene. They even tried to burn Kelsey's body.
This is just, it's like something out of a movie.
And the digital evidence, that played a huge role too. Investigators used those text messages to trace their origin. It all pointed back to Frazee.
And of course, Crystal Lee's testimony was key in leading investigators to, well, the evidence.
Oh, absolutely. She led them to multiple locations where Frazee tried to dispose of evidence, including where he'd hidden Kelsey's body. Can you imagine being in the courtroom, hearing all of that?
It must have been incredibly difficult for Kelsey's family.
Devastating. But they were there every step of the way, fighting for justice. The trial, it was this national spectacle. So much attention.
And Frazee was convicted, right?
Yeah. In 2019, he was found guilty of first-degree murder, got life in prison without parole. But there's another part to this, Crystal Lee's sentence.
Yeah, the plea deal. That caused a lot of controversy, didn't it?
Huge controversy. See, in exchange for her testimony, she got 3 years. Some people felt it was too light, given her involvement. Others argued it was necessary to secure Frazee's conviction. It's a complicated issue. Makes you think about, what is justice in a case like this?
Definitely something to ponder.
Yeah.
And in all of this, Kelsey's daughter, where does she fit in?
Right. She's now being raised by her maternal grandparents. At least there's some stability for her. But this case raises a lot of questions about domestic violence. Could something have been done to prevent this? How can we better protect victims, ensure their voices are heard? It's a painful reminder that these things happen, even in seemingly normal, everyday lives.
Yeah, it's a stark reminder that we need to pay attention, to be aware of what's happening around us.
Absolutely. We need to learn from cases like this. Be vigilant. Support those who might be in danger. Because sometimes the signs are there, even if we don't see them.
That's a powerful message to end on. We all have a role to play in preventing these tragedies.
We do. We can't bring Kelsey back. But we can honor her memory by speaking up, by paying attention, and by working to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Well said. And thank you all for listening. Until next time.